maa ngi wax jigéen ñi nag pour ñu góorgóorlu spécially xale yu jigéen yi gaal si ma wax leen pour ñu góorgóorlu seen jànga yi spécially bu ñëwee système bi science technology engineering and mathematics dañ soxla jigéen ñi torop si wàllu science bi ñu gën a góorgóorlu daal ak liggéey bi tamit na jigéen ñi fexe nañ tëraay ñu génn si ñu bokk si decision makers yi ñi nga xamante ni dañoo decide pour lan moo war a naka lañ war a tëralee réew mi ak naka lañ war a tëralee nekkut wàlli health rek naka lañ war a tëralee wàllum réew mi ndax ñun tamit am nañ cër si réew mi moo doon 50% jigéen lañ kon nag jigéen ñi waruñ des gannaaw. man maa ngi tudda Sarata Ngak ñu gën ma xamee ci Sarata Ngak Sow man nag maa ngi juddoo dëkk bu ñoo wax Pakaaw Njóogu fële sa tund Upper Ñoomi North Bank Region maa ngi defee suma primary school si dëkk boobu Pakaaw Njóogu fu ma fa pare ma dem Albreda foofu basic foofu laa defee suma grade 7 to 9 ma jógee foofu ma dem Nusrat ma jógee Nusrat nag dem naa school for registered nursing in Banjul under the Gambia College ma am fa suma state registered nursing certificate 2010 December ma jógee foofu nag liggéeyal naa nguur gi si dëkk bu ñoo wax Salikañe nekkoon naa fa nurse liggéey naa fa lu almost 3 years bu ma paree foofu noonu 2014 si laa jógee foofu ma dem defi suma bachelor's in nursing at the University of the Gambia 2016 nag si laa jaar si University of the Gambia nekkoon naa fa nag amoon naa fa as the second best graduating student in 2016 ba jógee foofu dem naa liggéey si dëkk bu ñoo wax Kawur festa Salum CRR am naa fa lu mu 8 months after loolu si laa am scholarship Swedish Institute Sweden ñoo ma joxoon scholarship ma dem defi suma masters def naa suma masters foofu noonu 2 years mooy masters in public health with a specialization in health economics loolu laa def ab 2019 laa jeexal ma dellu si waat ñib si réew mi ma ñib see nag si leen ma indi Directorate of Planning and Information on the Ministry of Health ma fi liggéey as a senior health economist foofu laa toll fi mu nekk nii. nursing bi comme lu ma motivé pour dugg si biir nursing bari na mun naa wax ne comme ma dee gis comme nit ñi feebar nii ba pare dañ dee soo demee suma mos naa feebar ma dem si lopitaan ma gis nurse yi ñu dee comme tekkiyaaye ñu dee toppatooyee ñu feebar te bugg naa saaf tamit humanity bugg naa dimbale nit ñi surtout jigéen ñi ak xale yi maternal and child health loolu nekk na suma interest trop loolu moo ma gën a motivé ma dugg si nursing bi comme suma nijaay suma yaay am na koo xamante ni seen papa yi ñoo bokk ndey ak baay kooku nurse la woon ba léegi medical doctor la sax moom bokk na si ñu ma xër pour ma dugg si nursing bi te moom tamit bokk na si ñu ma jàppale tamit suma mbiri jàng mi trop maa ngi koy gërëm ñu koy wax Siru Ba léegi docteur Ba maa ngi koy gërëm di ko sant bu baax suma oncle moo ma dugal moo ma motivé ma dugal nursing bi waaye su passé loolu tamit comme suma jëkkër jàppale na ma trop si suma carrière bi ndax moo ma motivé sax pour ma def bachelor's in nursing si UTG bi time boobu maa ngi liggéey maa ngi si kaw mu jëndal ma form sax ne ma dem def bachelor's masters bi tamit dimbale na ma trop ndax moom moo ma njëkk a am scholarship benn year moo ma senior waaye dimbale na ma te guide na ma tamit application process bi naka lay def naka lay apply ak yooyu yëpp dimbale na ma si trop ba pare xañ lii na ma tamit ñaax na ma tamit pour ma study health economics bi ndax bu ma demee scholarship bi mu ne ma health economics bi comme que bari wugut defal field bi nii ndax emerging field la waaw maa ngi ko gërëm daal di ko sant na jàppale na ma trop ba tey jii sax mu ngi maa ñaax every day mu ngi maa ñaax pour suma jàng bi ma gën a dem si kanam ma every day mu maa wane trial sa jàng bi dem si kanam ak sa liggéey bi nooy gën a demee si kanam comme daal maa ngi gërëm suma jëkkër di ko sant bu baax a baax a baax comme léegi man nekkatuma on clinical side mën naa wax ne si administration laa nekka comme ñuy wax tëral wàllu doxalin bi si health system bi si foofu laa nekka léegi waaye comme jafe-jafe yi nekkut si ñu nekka si système bi rek si clinical bi rek la ñun sax am nañ suñu jafe-jafe boppa ndax man suma liggéey bi moo nekka comme health economist ñun ñooy tëralin ne comme suñu indee budget bi health ñun ñoo ko dee compile ñu xool bu nekka fu war a dem nit ñi dañ dee wax directorate si ak programme si ak unit si ñu yónnee seen budget bi su budget bi ñëwee ñun suñu office ñoo koy seet ñu xool ne lii suñ ko yóbboo finance ñu ne budget bi lii yëpp duñ ko ndax duñ mën a solve yëpp xam nañ ne dëkk bi comme tax based économie la su ko defee dañoo seet ñun ñooy seet fan lañ war a wàññee fan lañ war a tibbee def ba nga xamante ne yëpp dina dem nu mu war a demee ñan ñoo war a gën a soxla xaalis bi si wàllu bi ak su wàllu ne li su nekkee comme liggéey bi as health economist fi ma nekkee nii boobu mun naa am wax ne at rek laa fi am waaye comme def na yeneen suma kem talaay kattan si office bi comme dina ma jox yeneen liggéey defal protocole bi nga binda ko ma bindal lii ma binda def loolu noonu waaye su demee si comme suma liggéey yu passé nursing bi mun naa wax ne am naa si lu bari lu ma achievement yu ma am ne kontaan naa ndax yenn saa yi sax nga tesee nit mu ne yow yaa ma toppatoo woon place sangam fàttale ko nga ma fekk yow mun naa am sax fàtte nga loolu rek doy na kontaan de maa ngi wax jigéen ñi rek pour ñu góorgóorlu spécialement xale yu jigéen yi gaal si ma wax leen pour ñu góorgóorlu seen jànga yi spécial yi bu ñëwee système bi science technology engineering ak mathematics man science student laa woon loolu moo tax dem school of nursing mu yomboon si man dañ soxla jigéen ñi torop si wàllu science bi ñu gën a góorgóorlu daal ak liggéey bi tamit na jigéen ñi fexe nañ tëraay ñu génn si ñu bokk si decision maker si ñi nga xamante ni dañoo decide pour lan moo war a naka lañ war a tëralee réew mi ak naka lañ war a tëralee nekkut wàllu health rek naka lañ war a tëralee wàllum réew mi ndax ñun tamit am nañ cër si réew mi moo daan 50% jigéen lañ kon nag jigéen ñi waruñ des gannaaw si decision making bi nañ war a ñëw ñun tamit ñu tëraay ñu bokk si gën a feeñ si mbiri decision making bi waaw.
We're currently at the international airport, Banjul, and where players are coming in, trying to sort themselves out to travel to DR Congo for their next game. The players are really optimistic, and it really brings that winning feeling. And let's see who we could talk to more.
The last game was the most important game for all of us in our lives, our careers. So being part of the group to make history for the Gambia is really a great feeling. Was a great feeling, and it's still a great feeling. And we were all very emotional after the game. And I'm very happy to be part of the group.
Game time no lañ ko prepare because so gisee lii boy nga Gambia musuñoo def lii daal so first time in history so mooy things yi daal.
Where we still have players taking pictures with fans and saying goodbye to family members, but we're here with someone.
I feel good because already we qualified, so now we are just fighting for the first place, and then it's a football, so we have to go there all out again to win. Of course, to win, to give the 3 points so that we can finish the first position in the group,
Dama ñëw gunge woon suma brother, mooy Maodo Lamine Jaaju. I'm very impressed and I'm very happy about him, and we are very proud of him as a family. Nu mu bàyyee ko di ñëw pour représenter ka because loo xam ne la daf ko gëmoon depuis time yi xale like daf ma ko de always wax ne man foog ma nekk professional and that dream have come true, so we feel so amazing, and ñu xam naa ne Gambia yëpp ñu kontaanal tey, so fu mu nekk nii am a proud brother fu mu nekk nii.
And we just finished speaking to Abdullah, who is a brother to Modlamin Jaju, who is one of the players traveling. And he shared a lot of experience with the brother, with family issues, him traveling abroad to play due to lack of facilities to upgrade our players here in Gambia.
Qualifying and yeah, celebrating, but the forward continue. January, that's too close. So win, so if we win, confidence will continue again. Like FIFA ranking time. So encourage you so serious. Yeah. As a forward player, we try to create and score goals, and DR Congo is an important game as the past games because we want to keep a good record going. So even though we are already qualified, but we are still going to fight for this badge because I mean it's the country that we are playing for, and every game is important. For us to get the respect that we deserve, we have to keep going and not make people think that we qualified by luck. So we are going out in DR Congo to win the game as well.
Comme nous avons dit, comme nous préparons game tamit nous l'avons préparé daal. Depuis suma time in do boy, nga la ma play football sa boy, Gambia musu don qualified. So first time nga ma bokk ci team bobu nonu kañ boy. Bro, I was very happy man. Yeah.
And this was a campaign promise made by the President Lamin Kababajo when he was seeking re-election in 2018. He promised to deliver AFCON 2021, and here we are. AFCON has been delivered. So the journey has been very, very tough, but Alhamdulillah, we have made it. The role, first of all, the role of the government is very, very critical in sports, football in particular. You could see on the day of the match at the stadium, after the final whistle was blown, even though no fans were allowed to watch the game, but you could see that there were tens of thousands already lining up the streets of Bakau and its surroundings. You know, and that shows you the power of football. Football can achieve that nothing else can achieve in this world. It can, you know, social cohesion, unity, you know, and all those things, socio-economic development. So it is very, very critical.
Politics bi dañ ko bàyyi gannaaw because ñun yëpp benn lañ Gambia yëpp benn ndey la benn baay la so with football da nga gis ne da nga gis Joola bi foofu nga gis different head yi si benn team loolu la mooy indi because ñu ne team mooy together everybody achieves more so waxuñ ne individually.
Oh, I wish them good luck te bëgg naa tamit guys suñu demee ñu wiinaat. I wish them all the best.
So we wish them good luck as they travel and more wins for Gambia.
No, I'm not Gambia. While I'm doing the interview lens, but you're gonna compare lens with humans. Sorry, huh?
Bye bye.
From Pachar village now, we move into the Maru farms. That's the common Gambian word, Jahali Pachar ends. Pachar is a rice cultivation area demarcated by government and currently occupied by partners in development in terms of private sector participation in rice cultivation, harvesting, and even provision of employment.
Hello, Governor. You're welcome.
So how have you been here?
Alhamdulillah. Yes, we are doing very well, and this is really a busy time for us. Processing, packaging, harvesting, and all of that. And we were able to get a lot of rice from the farmers. A lot of work was done this past season here, so that has not been done for a long time.
If you haven't harvested everything, we want to see a demonstration of it. If so, then that's all right. It's okay.
That's not a problem.
We really would want to see how your combined harvester is really working.
As you can see, those are all milled and packaged. So we're trying to package about 6,000 bags of rice in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So basically, but we were able to raise, the yield per hectare for the 257 farmers on the our grower program by 2. So initially they were just having 2 to 4 tons per hectare, but the average yield for a farmer in our grower scheme has been about 6.3 tons per hectare. That's a really great improvement, and I think we can even do better than that if we have the proper the mechanization in place. So my name is Musa Dabo from Bansang, and I'm a proud farmer. And about Maruo Farm started with a phone call in 2012. I was in the US, received a call from my family that they wanted me to buy them a bag of rice. I was shocked because we never had to buy rice, but my father passed in 2009 and they've not been going to the rice field until they called me in 2012. Then I wanted to revive our rice farm here, but I realized they were not willing to do it. And then I tried to encourage them to go back to the rice field, but they would not go back. And then I remembered growing up as a child, I never liked to farm because it was so labor intensive. Then I tried to look into why even people even need rice. Then I realized in Africa, in the Gambia locally, is about 130 million US dollars worth of rice that we eat every year. In West Africa is 7.4 billion US dollars every year. Then I said to myself, why do I need to be in the US? And then the other problem was, do I really want to come back to the way of farming that we are used to? Then that was the time I started to look into the American rice farmers. But I found out they are using aeroplanes to flood their rice fields. The Gambia, as a country, we do not even have a plane. So then I said, well, there has to be a middle ground. That was the time, I started to look into Asia and stuff like that. And then I also found out that we have enough water. All of the natural conditions are not there. And we are even able to produce rice 2 to 3 times a year. If we have the right, the mechanization in place. And this was when I took a leap of faith. I made a decision that I wanted to come back and farm. And then I had to go and find another job. I was an engineer, I was paid good, but I had to find another job, to try to put money together, to have a good start. And then in December 2018, it was when I finally came home. So right now, this is about my 4th production. And then I'm also able to reach out to the local farmers. Right now, we have about 257 farmers on the house, and we're trying to increase to 2,000 farmers for next year. And all our rice is produced here and packaged here and sold here locally. So we're trying to see how much more we can produce locally, to be able to reduce the importation. Apart from that, it is a huge place for employment. We are employing so many people here. I have about 19 permanent employees. More than 200 the women benefited here from day labor and stuff like that. So alhamdulillah, the farming is great. Land tenure system is a big problem. People like this idea of my grandfather, my great-grandparents were here first. That's not going to help us.
NARI is a government-subvented institution established by an Act of Parliament in 1993. Because if you look at the history of NARI, NARI started as a single commodity pre-independent research program. Then it evolved into research and special services unit under the Department of Agriculture. Then it morphed into Department of Agriculture Research. And then in 1993, it became NARI. This is the history of NARI. And this was before independence. It was single commodity. What I mean by it was only groundnut. They are trying to research on something like that. Mainly groundnut. Until today, what we have today, taking care of all the commodities, including non-staple foods. New ones are coming up.
I work in the pest management unit. We conduct research on biological, at field level on biological, chemical, cultural, and then botanical. And the specimens collected from the field are brought to the laboratory for identification and isolation in the case of diseases.
I am a trained practical horticulturist and at the same time the head of the horticulture unit of NARI. Horticulture is a branch under agriculture, which it deals with vegetables. When we say vegetable, tomato, cucumber, onion, carrot, all these are vegetables, and it also deals with fruits, mango, citrus, avocado, and the others, and it also deals with flowers and ornamentals. Like we see, this is used for landscaping and also keeping the place beautiful. Horticulture is generally in these three broad aspects.
And I'm the head of the Grain Legume and Oilseed program under the National Agricultural Research Institute, NARI. That which means that the groundnut, cowpea, sesame, any oilseed crops and grain crops get in those programs. Then secondly, also I am advisor to the crop research program because I retired from director of crop research. So now I am contracted as the head of the Grain Legume and Oilseed program and advisor to the crop research program.
So I'm one of the program directors in charge of the cropping systems and then the agroforestry. And then what this program does mainly is environmental crop soil related studies. One of our crop specialists, that's Mr. Drame. They are the breeders and then the people who actually handle the crop from the basics. That's the screening part of it. Okay, but then when you're done with that, the crops also needs to adapt environmentally. Okay, because that's the essence. You need to adapt them to the different environments and then also to the different farming systems. Okay, so that's the end product. So that's where our work comes in mainly. Okay, we try to take these crops from them and then try them in the different environments to see how they will adapt, but also to see how they respond to the different inputs. For example, most of the crops will require fertilizer. Okay, but then how much of the fertilizer do we need to apply? What times do we need to apply them? Okay, so those are some of the things. They need to adapt to this certain ecologies. Are they suitable for this kind of environment, that kind of environment? So at cropping systems, that's what we are focused on mainly.
Our operation initially was based on commodity programs. That means we had 12 programs here. But due to current realities, including the NDP, we all know that the NDP places high hope, expectation on the ability of agriculture to lift small-scale producers from poverty, out of poverty and food insecurity. So we thought of, and of course including climate change and other things, and also to make us more relevant to our clients. So we thought of doing some restructuring and streamlining. Now we have, because of that restructuring, we have 7 programs. We call them directorates. And these are the Directorate of Crop Research, Directorate of Cropping System and Agroforestry, Directorate of Livestock and Aquaculture, Directorate of Agricultural Engineering and Farm Management, Directorate of Integrated Pest and Disease Management, Directorate of Agriculture and Rural Economics, and the Directorate of Food Chemistry and Aflatoxin Research. These are the 7 directorates that we are operating as a result of this streamlining. Of course, also because of resources and we have to merge some of these programs. It used to be 12 programs.
Yeah, as the director of research, I work with all the other programs within this institute, because this particular institute has 7 7 research directorates. So I worked hand in hand with all those research programs to develop research plans that are in line with the mandate of this institute.
Our mandate is to improve agricultural production and productivity in this country, or come up with technological solution to the problem of our producers. We inform policy makers on that, the best options for that. So this is our mandate, and our strategic objective is to also participate or contribute in the attainment of national policy program or objectives of enhance household food security, increase income for the smallholders, and also to generally contribute to the national economy. If you look at the 8 strategic points of the NDP, the third one that says to transform our agriculture and fishery for sustained economic growth, food and nutritional security, and poverty reduction. You cannot do that. You cannot achieve success in agriculture if you leave research behind. Because research is supposed to be if agriculture is the engine of economic growth, as people used to say, then research is the lubricant. Without the lubricant, the engine is not functional. So you can never leave research. NARI is the entry point of all new germplasm resources here. You cannot bring seed into this country without coming through NARI. It could be catastrophic. We are the only people who have the capability of managing these things. We test them to our environment, local environment, and then we certify it. Of course, through NSS. I think you know about NSS, National Seed Secretariat. When we have things, we are responsible for the production of breeder seed. Once we produce this breeder seed, we give them to NSS for certification. And this goes through a lot of processes, committees, and so. Committees have to endorse all these things to see that they have potential to survive or to do well in our local condition.
Introducing a new crop, the preference of farmers, the highest preference is the yield. When the crops yield high, most likely the farmers are going to take it. But when it yields high also, the taste of the local varieties are much better than this other variety. It's also going to give it a big problem. So we put all these things into consideration. We make the yield test first, and then we do the platability test and what we call the culinary test on station here with different people. So we take those results, and then later on we will select few farmers to conduct these same trials that we conduct on station here with the farmers.
Now we have introduced something that we call participatory research, because we are not doing research for ourselves. We are doing research so that the end products can get to the farmers. They are the beneficiaries. So now what we do is we bring them into the research so that we don't do everything on our own. So when we are screening, at some point in time, we will also invite farmers to look at what we are doing right from on station. But when we are doing that, we do it through the extension workers so that this pluralistic approach to research can be attained. Because now the system that we are working on is the researcher, the extension worker, and the farmer. We all work together as one when it comes to development of technology, so that at the end of the day, it's not the product or the produce that is wholly and solely produced by research, but by all these 3 players, so that in the end we can all take it upon ourselves as something that is developed by all these 3 parties. Because if research works alone and ignore extension, then it will be very difficult for extension to push those technologies to the farmers. So that's why we are using that approach.
We have 2 main research stations. One is the one at Banjul in Site 3, and the other one is at Sapo, that's very close to the Kamaba, CRR South rather, CRR South. Those are 2 main stations. We have cluster sites also. Cluster sites, the sub-stations and the cluster station, where we do conduct our research. Then we have one in Queenada, in West Coast. There's one in Mount Fana, CRR South. Then we have one in Hirogakunda in URR, and we have another one in another two, one in CRR North, that's Jao. Then the final one is Bakindi in the lower Lomi. Those are the cluster sites where we also repeat our activities to see how we perform at different levels.
We know agriculture is difficult because agriculture is the business of everybody. Okay, it's not like others. People will ask, "What are you doing?" But I used to say, everybody is our client. Everybody, you eat 3 times in a day. It comes from an agricultural. How do anybody meet that demand? It's going to take a lot of effort. So that's how demanding our work is. Okay, because everybody benefits. 2 million people benefit from our end products on a daily basis, 3 times a day minimum, or at least 2 times a day. Okay, so how do you meet the demand of everybody? It's difficult. The things that you grow are developed by some people. They are called the researchers. Nobody seems to have their time. Okay, because their work takes time. Okay, their work takes a lot of patience, and then sometimes our work is not even seen. Okay, the development work is what is seen. When people grow it in hectares, in 10 hectares, in 20 hectares, that's what is seen on the cameras and shouted about. But the thing that is grown into the hectares and yield 40 tons, 200 tons has been developed. That's where it started from. You know, sometimes people are in haste. Senior technicians, politicians, they want to put money into things and show people the next day that this is what we have done. Okay, and on this side you need a lot of patience. Okay, things will have to happen in 5 years. Okay, they'll have to happen in 6 years. But we are doing the reverse in this country. We are trying to throw money into a lot of development work and then neglect the research part of it. And then that's why, for me, I think we are moving in cycles. We're just going in cycles. So the problem is understood. We have to address it by supporting the science base, and that's research. So research is a foundation. In life, everything has to be based on knowledge. Research is knowledge. It's the knowledge bank. If you want to do anything and then you don't base it on knowledge, it will look like a success while you're doing it. But just go and then leave your bag and come back later and see. It will all crumble.
The second year, what is called a multi-locational research trials. Because when you just worked on a particular crop variety in Yundum and Sapo, that would not give you concrete results to say, okay, this particular crop can perform in the Gambia. No, because if you look at this particular country, we have 3 agroecological zones. And in all these 3 ecological zones, the rainfall, the amount that they receive is different. You have the Sahelian agroecological zone that receives between 300 to 600 millimeters of rain. And then you have the Sudano-Sahelian that receives between 600 to 900 millimeters of rainfall per annum. And also there is the Sudano-Guinean receives about 600 to 900 millimeters of rainfall. That is where West Coast is situated. That's why we are receiving a lot of rainfall around this time of the year, because it receives the highest amount of rainfall. So the multi-locational research that we are doing, we ensure that these crop variety, before they go to the farmers, they are tested in all these agroecological zones, so that we can be able to determine in which agroecological zone a particular crop performs best.
People are trying to shorten research cycles, and we are rain-fed dependent mainly. If you only dependent on the rain, you have to take 3 years minimum just to screen a variety, to know whether it's adaptable to the conditions or not. If you have good irrigation facilities, you'll do this in 1 year, probably, or 1 year 3 months, or 1 year 4 months maximum.
Then we are disseminating, then we can target those areas to disseminate these technologies. So when we are doing that during the second year, we would also give some of those varieties which we've selected with farmers for those multi-locational trials, for them to also test on their farms, so that they can also give us first-hand information, because those varieties are meant for them. So it would be good for us to also get feedback from them as to how those varieties are performing in their farms. So during the third year, all this process would be repeated to confirm as to which varieties are performing where. And then if we get to that stage, then our adaptive research is almost concluded. So our role there would be just to demonstrate good practices that we call GAP, good agricultural practices. So we will demonstrate those practices into as many communities as possible. So in that way, we will be also able to outscale. But we use the projects to be able to do that. So if we are unfortunate, projects have not come to knock at our doors. So what we do, NSS is also there, the National Seed Secretariat. They are mandated to do what is called seed multiplication. So in multiplying seeds, they would request some seeds from us. Then we will hand these seeds, those best crop varieties, which I just talked about. We will hand these seeds over to them. Then they would contract a lot of farmers, and then they would do what is called seed multiplication and give it to a lot of other farmers. So this is how NARI makes impact. That then it would be disseminated to as widely as the whole country. So as long as the finance is provided for it to be sent to the farming communities around the country.
In the case of the Gambia, I think there was a study here some couple of years ago, and then it was discovered that there is severe malnutrition in some parts of the country. I think especially in the Sierra North and then some parts of North Bank. And then normally when there's malnutrition, how it is addressed is medically through medicines. Okay, droplets that are put in the mouths of babies and all the medical stuff. These are sometimes expensive. Okay, and then sometimes it's also difficult to get to everybody using those methods. But everybody eats food. There's nobody who doesn't eat food. So I think that's where the idea comes from. How about we improve the food that we eat? Okay, instead of trying to get everybody to a medical center, why not we improve the food? Okay, that we with the same micronutrients, so that everybody can get access to this.
Scientists feel like farmers are growing food that we are eating, so they have to come up with crops, improved crops that they have these essential micronutrients, vitamin A, iron, zinc, and the other micronutrients. And then when you come to the palm millet also is very rich in carbohydrates. They come with a palm millet that is very rich in iron and zinc. This was the whole concept why biofortification basically comes to address malnutrition and also improve food and nutrition security.
I did say bio means biological. Okay, these things have been tampered with. Their genomes have been improved. Okay, and then if you're doing breathing, you can change the color anyhow you want. Okay, so that's the good thing about breathing. So they did that to distinguish them. Okay, so that they stand out. But then also it's because of the things that they add to these crop varieties. Okay, and that's why their colors are different from. So this is done by the scientists themselves. It's not by accident. Okay, people, it's by design. They went into a lab and designed how the colors should look like. Okay, and then all that was inputted into it biologically. So that's why it is called biofortification.
Actually, biofortification was a concept that was brought to NARI by development partners, FAO, Gambia office, and the United Purpose. They have a project which it comes to address malnutrition through agriculture, and that will be through biofortification. So when they approached NARI also consulted international partners, development partners like Israel, like CRI in Ghana, and other development institutes. So this was how the biofortification concept comes up. And then amongst this project, they selected basically 6 crops. This was millet, maize, cowpea, cassava, sweet potato, and African leafy vegetables. These are the 6 crops that these 2 projects selected.
So that's why we bring these biofortified crop varieties. We try to adapt them to our different systems in this country because that's necessary. These are new things. If they come, you have to first try to adapt them, and then also increase the planting material. So that's where we started. We did our on-station research, went on farm and then did on-farm research on all the crop varieties. Like I mentioned, a study that was done. I think it was discovered that vitamin A was what was missing mainly, okay, especially in the kids that are 5 and below, and then also in pregnant women. But these are the two categories that are the major targets of these biofortified crops. So vitamin A is what is mainly added, but also beta carotene. In the case of the cassava or the OFSP, okay, there's also beta carotene that is also added.
You would see somebody who would eat and think is well fed, but not knowing that you lack macronutrients. So that's why it's referred to as hidden hunger, to help us to get those micronutrients into our daily diets.
So biofortification has come to address that. Okay, not just to be food self-sufficient, but then also to be nutrition self-sufficient, so that the amount of food we are eating is also quality food.
For the African leafy vegetables, these are already nutrition-rich foods which we have here, but we have to promote their consumption for farmers to be taking it, and we have to improve their production so that it can be something that farmers can go into it. So with the maize, they asked us to bring in provitamin A maize, provitamin A cassava, and orange flesh sweet potato, and then iron-rich beans and iron-rich palm millet. So through development partners in Niger, Senegal, Ghana, we bring in these varieties in the country. We made a screening first, did their adaptive research, and then later on worked with it with the farmers. And this year, we are currently working with the extension services so that this can be outskilled throughout the country. The Food and Biofortification Project basically is not only NARI, it has many implementing partners: the Ministry of Health, Department of Health Promotion, National Nutrition Agency, Food and Safety Authority, and then you have the Gambia Standard Bureau. All these institutions are in this project. But for NARI, we are closely working with the Department of Health Promotion and NANA. When we bring in these varieties, test them, screen them, and see that they can work in the country, then we made a participatory varietal selection with the farmers, where it was not only the farmers, but also the National Nutrition Agency, NANA, to sensitize farmers about the importance of these crops and about the nutrition benefits of these crops. And also the food technology services, how farmers can prepare this into different recipes, not only the local way that we know it. Because for potato or cassava, all we know here is to boil it or bake it as a snack. But while the potato, you can make it as a whole food recipe, which they have trained the farmers, making the potato into mash, making it into a dish, a sauce, and also boiling it and eating it. All these things, and frying it, making it into chips, because all we are saying, Gambians here, if you want chips, you are using the Irish potato, which it is being imported. So FAO also, we are the funding agency of this particular exercise. After the on-farm screening, we also sensitize farmers about how to prepare this food, so that at least the nutritional benefits that we are talking about in these particular foods, they can have it and they can consume it. And the importance of consuming these particular crops. For the orange flesh sweet potato, we've already selected 5 varieties, which they have been approved to be released in the national catalog. We have 9 varieties on station here, but we have selected 5 varieties to be released. These varieties are Bogart, which is from the United States, CRI Bohe, which is from Ghana, Chebele, which is from Senegal, Kande, it is from Senegal, and then Somia, which is from Senegal. 3 varieties from Senegal, 1 from Ghana, and 1 from the United States. And we are left with 4 varieties. So this season also, we are doing research on those varieties to also have their good information. Anytime the need arises, they can also be approved to be released in the national catalog. All this is the work that NARI is doing. So when we are doing certain jobs, when it comes to trials, I always love being in the field, from the land preparation up to harvesting, so that whenever I am out there to talk about it, it will not need for me to take a book or a pen and read what has been done. But this, I myself have done it, do it practically, and I can tell everybody what has transpired, not what has been written in the book. So that's why I love doing work practically.
When we want to work on a particular technology, we would look around to look at the centers of excellence within the sub-region. Normally, we will contact the CGIA centers. These are the International Agricultural Research Centers. So we would work with them to source these technologies. But at times, there are also within the sub-region some very good National Agricultural Research Institute. One of them is Senegal. So we also do go to Senegal a lot of times to be able to source some very promising technologies from them. Because if we are unable to do it on our own, then we can be able to source around and bring it into the country.
The sister institution in the sub-region, ISRA of Senegal, they are NARI, IIT, based in different regions. Nigeria is the headquarters, Africa Rice, they have different stations, some stations are in Senegal, some are in Burkina, some in other places. Then ICRISAT, the groundnuts, they came from ICRISAT, Mali. They have a sub-station at Mali. They have some breeders there. Every year they are breeding new different varieties. So when they are ready, they are waiting for regional partners like NARI. Anybody who is interested, you place your request that you need this crop, this number of varieties, these varieties that are suitable for this level. Some are early maturing, some are tolerant of aflatoxin, some are drought tolerant, depending on your request. They will send you those seeds, but in very small quantities. Because when they started, they sent always 100 kernel seeds of groundnut for each of them. We tested them at the research station here, at site 3, the first year. We screened them, including our local varieties, because we always use our local varieties to compare them with the new ones coming. But they did very well the first year. Then from there, we developed a national program. That's a varietal trial where we can expand more. So based on that, in all these locations, we are screening the same information, parameters. But we came up at the end of the day that we found out that these 5 varieties, they were the best varieties. And they are early maturing, they are high yielding, and most of them are tolerant to drought. And there are some which are also tolerant to aflatoxin, those varieties. All the varieties are labeled, they have their names. Because some of them, are, these 63 varieties I'm referring to, most of them are very similar, most of them are confectionery type. They have high sugar content, but the oil content is low. Some, only two of them has high oil content. So those ones, at field level, you can differentiate them at field level. The oil type has a darker green leaf at field level. The confectionery type has a lighter green leaf at field level. And the advantage with the oil type, though they are late maturing, but they are more tolerant to drought, and they maintain their green color, the leaves. And secondly, once the plant, the pot is attached to the peg, they will never germinate. But with the confectionery types, once they are mature, if there is moisture inside the soil, if you don't harvest, you lose everything. They start germinating again inside the soil. Those are the disadvantages of the confectionery, but they are early maturing and high sugar content. That's why in most of the supermarkets, you found those confectionery types. They are placed in the local the supermarkets because people use it for consumption or for domestic use. Because like if you want to prepare, then chura get it. Yes, at all. It's better you go for the confectionery type. You need less sugar because the sugar content is high. But if you need more oil, you go for the oil type.
Once our allocation is given to us, all that we do is normally we report back to the National Assembly because we are a subvented institute. So once they give us some money to conduct our research, then they would want us to report back as to how that money was spent. But there has never been any time in particular for them to tell us that this is how we will use it, this is how, because what we do is we send in our budget, work plan and budget, that this is what we want to do and this is the amount of money that we need to do this. So at the end of the year, every year we report back to the NAMS. Yes, but there have never been any interference, no.
People should stop doubting. First thing, people should stop doubting NARI. There are people here who definitely want to work for this country. They are all here. You know why they are here? Love for country. They could have gone. All of us have the opportunity to go, but we are not going. I try to build a very strong relationship with them. If you see me sometimes, they don't take me as director or something. Of course, they give me the maximum report, but I try to tell them that this is our country. Nobody is going to build this for them. And the current government is showing those signs that we should stay and work for our country. So let's stay. That's why you have all these PhDs there. They're not going anywhere. They're here. This is it. We want to participate because nobody is going to develop this country for us. We are the one who should develop our own, especially the youth. It's our responsibility. That's why I always tell people that every youth man, you must either have a trade, an occupation, or a job, so that you can carry other people's burden and not you yourself be a burden to others. This dependency syndrome, you should kick it out. Everybody must have a job or something. You carry other people's burden. Don't be a burden to others.
For me, I have passion in general for horticulture because my director will say that horticulture is my DNA. I was trained in horticulture since I was a child. My father was a professional gardener, and I came to be in the agricultural system and found myself working in the horticultural sector. And what I love most is the practical aspect of it. Not only sitting down, especially in these days now where the world is a global village, learning through the computer, giving people instructions to do it. I don't believe in that. All I believe in, what I have learned, let me come together with people, we do it together and see that what we have learned, it has worked out. That is what I believe in.
Research, you have to do a lot of thinking, a lot of reading, okay? You have to do a lot of scientific reading. So it's difficult, and then it's not, financially it's not very rewarding if you compare it to other activities, because this is a very honorable thing to do. Okay, it's a very honorable thing. Your work is impacting lives. People may not know it, but we know our work is impacting lives, and that is satisfactory. It's very, very satisfactory. Yes, so I wouldn't change my career. Yes, I don't say I would not do other things, but the question is whether I regret this and then I would have changed it for something else. No, I like this field very well.
The contributions of horticultural research in the NDP, first of all, I can say women empowerment is key, because the horticultural sector is being dominated by women. Always, like the technologies we talked about, when we are training, when it is for 20 people, 15 are going to be women. The horticultural sector is playing a key role. Research is playing a key role in nutrition security, supporting women, training women on how to get good nutrition from the crops that they are producing. I think the biofortification specifically comes to address malnutrition and good health. So, because when you are healthy, you will not always be often using the hospitals, which will reduce the burden on the government in buying drugs and so. And all of us know that these drugs have been bought on subsidies.
The NDP is working, because if you look at it, there are projects on the ground that are working to implement activities which are going to achieve some of the objectives within the NDP. So if those projects are able to achieve those objectives, then we can say the NDP, even though the process is a bit slow, but we are moving forward.
We are here as Gambians supporting our government, especially in the area of the National Development Plan. We are making sure that the plans laid and the objective laid in the National Development Plans is being achieved before 2021. We are making all efforts to see that this thing is something that the Gambians realized when they sit down on their bed, especially in the agricultural sector. The major microeconomic sector when it comes to the governance of the Gambia. And horticulture plays a key role in this economic sector. That's why we are not laying down our shoulders. We are always working to see that the National Development Plan is achieved.